Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Digitize Summer Sessions. My name's Pam Curry, and I'm going to be leading you today through Soundtrap. We're going to make Commonwealth Games Anthem. We're going to get creative. We're going to make music. So Soundtrap is an amazing software. It works totally online. You can use it on your Chromebook. You can use it with an app on your iPad or your mobile phone. It is amazing to get started making music really easily. Hopefully you're going to discover today just how easy it is to make music with Soundtrap. So what I'm going to do just now is I'm going to jump onto my computer and I'm going to start showing you how to use Soundtrap to make your Commonwealth Games anthem. You ready? Let's go. We love Soundtrap. It's a full-on recording studio that you can use on a Chromebook, an iPad, a laptop, or your desktop computer at home if you've got one, even on your mobile device, your phone. Superb, and you can collaborate with other people too. So what you can see on the mobile device there, the phone and the laptop, is what Soundtrap looks like once you have loads of tracks. So all these little individual areas there are called tracks, and what we're going to do today is we're going to start building our new Commonwealth Games anthem by putting together lots of tracks like this. So you'll see there's a button here that says get started. We're just going to click on that. So if we click on get started, you'll see there's personal use or educational use. Now I know we're education, but this is if teachers have set up class codes and got Soundtrap authorised for your use. So best thing to do just now is just click personal use, and then you'll be able to sign up with Google. So you could just create a new account by signing up with your Google account, or you can sign up with email instead. Okay, so you just need to give them your email. So I already have an account, so I'm just going to go up to the top right hand corner and I'm going to click log in, and you'll see there's some more login options. You've got Microsoft, Apple and Google, so you'll be able to use any of your school accounts with these to log in. I've already logged in with a personal Gmail, so I'm just going to click log in. So when I arrive at my Soundtrap homepage, what you can see is some of the songs that I've already done. Now, what I want to point out here is that we actually wrote the digitized sound music in Soundtrack in Soundtrap. So you can see here we've got digitized 10-minute, digitized short, and then we've got a digitized. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to nip into the digitized short, okay? And you can see here, you can just click into that by clicking Studio. If you don't have any projects and you want to start a new project, then you click this plus up in the left hand corner and you can enter the studio. Now before we get started, let's just have a look at some finished projects. So there's some example projects here that we can look at, and of course we've got the digitized one. So I'm just going to click into this one just now called Leather, and what it's going to do is it's going to open up the project. It's just going to take a few minutes to load that, and you will see that Soundtrap suddenly has lots of little bars of music. So we've got different tracks down the left hand side. These are all our different tracks of music. Now music's built up using layers of different sounds. So you've got your drums, you've got your bass, and then you add in things like guitars and vocals and keyboards. So we build it all up track by track, and that's how music really works and music recording works. So let's just come down here to our little control bar, and let's just play this and listen to what it sounds like. So that's a really kind of rocky track there. Got a lot of kind of drums and guitar. And listen, so see all these little bits here? These are all our samples, all our little bits of guitar and drums, and you can see them in these little coloured sections here. So I'm just going to click on this one again. So see, at that point, you've only got guitars at the beginning, but this sample here is a bass drum kicking in, so let's listen again. Here it comes. So you can hear how the different elements, the different tracks come in to make this whole song. So we're going to come out of this studio now. We're just going to click on the Soundtrap icon in the top left, and that's going to take us back to our home page. And let's just click in now to our Digitize studio and let you hear how we did that. So we're going to open it up again. We're opening up the project, and what you'll see again is how we made Digitize. So we're just going to play that. So you can see we made the whole Digitized soundtrack in Soundtrap, and you can see we used quite a lot of different tracks, but all of these were done using samples from the loop library. So before we continue any further, I'm going to go back to my home page, and what we're going to do is we're going to start a new blank project. To do that, we want to click Enter Studio in the top left there. So I'm going to click Enter Studio, and what we're going to get now is a decision to make. Do we want to make a podcast? Well, one time you might want to make a podcast. You know, podcasts are when you audio recording, so you might do a podcast for your school, or you might want to have a discussion about a certain topic, and for that you'd want to choose podcast. But today we're all about music, so I'm going to click on the music one, and this is going to open us up with a new music, a blank music studio. So you see down the left hand side here, I don't have any tracks, and in this area here I don't have any content. I'm just going to switch back into light mode. I was in dark mode there. You notice there's a little switcher up here for light mode and dark mode. I'm going to go back into light mode for today. And you can see here that this home screen here invites me to add a new track, to import a file, so you could record your track separately, your music separately, like if you had maybe some guitars or something, or you maybe had like an external vocal mic or something, you could do that separately. What I'm going to do just now is I'm going to just browse the loops, okay? So we could just add a new track, either top left or down here, but I'm going to browse some loops, and that's how we're going to start our track. Now, when I'm making music, I always like to start with drums. So if you go over to the right hand side now, you can see that my loop library has opened up. Loops are just little clips of music that have already been recorded that you can use to build a track. So you can build it up with all these little bits of music that have already been recorded. You don't need to know how to play it. You just need to have the creativity to put them together in a creative way. And that's how we're going to get started with Soundtrap today. So I'm going to click on drums. And what we're going to do is we're going to just preview a few drums and see if we like the sound of them. So I'll just start with the top one, Essential Pop Drums 8. Let's have a listen. Not bad. Quite kind of rocky. Let's go for a bit more of a kind of dancey vibe here. Doesn't sound very Commonwealth Games, eh? What about Right, I'm going to use that one. If I want to use that one, I just go over here to the right hand side. I'm going to click the plus, and you can see it's created me a new track, and it's added my little drum loop. And you can see there I've got 2 bars of this in there, and I can actually just extend that if I wanted. So I can just click the right hand side and drag it, and that means I'll get that drum track going further on. What I want to do though is I just want to use that little bit of drums. I'm going to build in something else a bit later. So let's find some other drums that will keep us going for the rest of the tune. So that'd be a nice introduction, but let's try and find some other drums that we could just use right the way through. I'm find it quite tricky to find something, so what I'm going to do is try and filter it by one of these kind of styles. So I'm going to go for EDM and see if we can get some electronic dance music drums. Not bad. See, that's quite a nice fill. I'm going to add that in, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to add that into this track and then listen to how these might go together. So I'm going to move my, see the slider? That's the playhead, that's wherever, if I just drag that left to right, and my music is going to play from wherever I stop it. So let's just listen to the changeover from the first drum beat to the second one, see what it sounds like. Okay, so what's happening there is I'm looping this track. So I've selected it, you see there it's been selected and it's looping. I don't want that to happen. Okay, that's not really working, that one for me. I'm going to take that one out and I'm going to try and find another fill. I'm going to use this. So this is going to be a better drum beat. It's offering to sell me more. This is going to be a better... okay. So I'm not allowed that one because I don't have the subscription. I need Supreme subscription for that one. That's okay though, we don't need the Supreme subscription. Here we go. Let's listen to this one. That'll do me. So I'm going to just hit plus. And then I'm going to drag, because I want all my drums on the one track. So I'm going to just drag that one up to the drum track. Let's hear it now. See, that works quite well now as a transition. I've got a nice little introduction, but there's not a lot of drums going on. It's quite a gentle introduction, and then it goes into the full beat. So let's listen to that again. That's pretty good. Okay, so I've got the beginnings of a drum track here, and what I always want to do next is add some bass. Bass is really important to music because it works with the drums to give us the rhythm of our song. So I'm just going to search for bass up here and see if we can get some bass loops. I need to X out of that there, and then I'll need to select bass here. So let's listen to some of our bass. I don't know if that one would work. Let's try it. So I've added this in at the beginning, and I don't know if it's going to work, but all I need to do is come down to the bottom and play it and listen. Let's just hear. Do you know that actually works really well? The bass is a bit loud, so what I'm going to do is come over to the left here on the track, and I'm just going to turn the volume down a wee bit. So let's listen to that again. You know, that's awesome. I really like that. So now I need some bass to go on the next part of drums. So let's just like try something else. We'll try this Electro 14. We'll drag it up to the same one. That sounds awesome as well. Listen to this. So listen to this one. That sounds so cool. Right, I'm really loving this. This is sounding great. So what we've got so far is we've got a drum track that starts off with an intro nice and quietly. Then we move into a different rhythm and the bass matches it. Perfect. I'm so happy. Okay, so now that we've got our intro done and we've got a little bit of the main track done with drums and bass, let's try and add in some synths. So synths are just keyboards with some nice sounds. A lot of our modern music uses synths. Synths have been around for a long time, but just the difference between kind of like dance music and rock music. Dance music will use a lot of synths and samples, and rock music will use a lot of kind of guitars. So we're going to make this kind of dancey vibe today. I'm going to click on synths, and let's just listen to a few of these little synth parts and see what we think. Do you know what? The best thing to do is just try it. So I've just clicked the plus button there to add it to my track, and it's automatically created a new synth track. So let's just listen and see what it sounds like. Do you know what? It sounds awesome, doesn't it? That sounds amazing. I think it sounds quite anthemy as well. It's quite big. This is quite good for an anthem. Right, I'm excited. I'm going to find another little bit of synth now. And just for the bit where the tune starts going, so we're looking for this to be a bit more kind of jamming, a bit more going on in the synth track here, I think. It's not got enough going on. Let's come further down. Here we go, Lead Street. That might work. Okay, let's try that. So again, it's created me a new track, but I want it just on this main synth track, so I'm just dragging it up there. And let's just now listen to the transition between the intro section and then our main tune, because that's what's important here. So I'm going to just hit my space bar. I can do this just by hitting my space bar, or remember I can come down to the bottom control area and just hit play. This is just the same way most music navigation works there. You can go right back to the start by hitting there. This is what you'll need if you need to record stuff, but I usually just use these samples and play, and we can skip to the end of our section, or forward wind, sorry, just by forwarding through it like that. But remember, we can also take the purple bar and just drag it to wherever we want on our track's timeline. So I want it just to hear the transition between the two sections. I'm just going to hit my space bar and let's listen. I'm so chuffed with that. That sounds awesome. Right, so let's get some other bits and pieces in. You see, I've got all these tracks now I don't need. So what I'm going to do is click the three dots on this one, and then I'm just going to delete that track, because I don't need these, remember. So I'm just going to delete these. And it's because when I added my samples, I added them into as new tracks, because that's what happens when you add samples. But I remember dragged mine onto my main tracks. And what I'd like to do now, just so that I don't get confused, can you see this is starting to kind of build up? I'm just going to rename these. So three dots again, and I'm going to hit rename, and I'm just going to call this drums. Okay, this one already says bass, so that's fine, and that one already says synth, so that's fine. So I know what's going on now with these tracks. Now, what we're going to do now is we're just going to get a little bit of guitar in here, and let's see if we can get some guitar into our track. So what I've done is I just search out my loop filters. I'm going to hit on guitar, and now we've got some guitar. So let's just listen to a few again. Now I think that might work for my intro. Let's try it. There you go, it's created a new track called Electric Guitar. It's nice and quiet. I think that might fit with the vibe of my intro. Let's just listen. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think that sounds amazing. Let's just listen. I love it. Listen. Now that's so cool. So I've got my 4 bars here down the bottom. And let's just now add in a bit more guitar, a bit more kind of groovy guitar, like a guitar that gets going. So that one was quite good for my intro, but I'm needing a bit more from my guitar now. So let's play another few. Don't think that's enough. That might work really well, actually. Okay, let's try it. This time I'm just going to drag it onto the track I want. Wrong track type. Okay, so I need this to be on a different track type because it's a different kind of sample. So that's okay. We can do that. We can get as many tracks as we want here. So let's just listen now to the transition. I'm just going to come down here and hit play again. How cool is that? That is awesome, and it totally fits with the vibe of my song. I love it. Okay, so let me just show you what we've been using over the right hand side here is loops. So loops are pre-recorded little snippets of music, and that is all you need to start getting creative with Soundtrap. It's a phenomenal program. You can see how easy it was for me to do that. Now, I've not given my song a name yet, so I'm going to come up to the top here where it says Untitled Song, and I'm just going to give it a name. So I'm going to call it Commonwealth Anthem, and that is the name of my track. Now, another feature of Soundtrap that's really, really amazing is that you can collaborate with other people. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up to the right hand side here, and you can see there's a share box, and what I can do here is I can either copy the link so that I can then send that out maybe by email or Google Classroom, and what that will do is send them the link and they'll be able to enter my studio and help me build my track. So if you're in a classroom, you could be working with some people in your group just by sending them this share link. So if you're a teacher, copy the share link. You could share it with groups of pupils in your class. They could be making podcasts, they could be making music, they could be demonstrating what they know about a topic by bringing in some music and audio recordings. Or you can use this bit up here where you could just add someone by email. So I'll just show you now. I've got a different account here in my name, so I'm just going to add myself on my different account, and you can see now it sent me an invitation and it shared it with Pam Curry, and on my phone I've just got a notification email to tell me that that's been shared with me. If you're having a podcast guest on, so it's quite common for you to interview people from all over the world, you can create a guest call and record the conversation. So that's a fantastic way to get a podcast done. So real collaboration there, and if I were to enter the studio now on my other account, I'd be able to come in and join this project, and that's what we did for Digitize, and we had a few of our team just working together making the soundtrack for Digitize. Okay, so that is sharing, and we've learned there how to name our file. If we save now, it's saving all the time, but let's just click save the project. That's me 100% saved, and if I were to come out of here again by clicking the home screen, you can see now that I've got this in my recent files, and I've also got it down here in my recordings. So I'm just going to go back in by clicking Studio, remember, and let's just come back into the studio. We'll load up our project. It's all there for us, and what we're going to do now is we're going to add a new track. Now when we click add a new track, look at this window that opens up for us. We get to choose, so this is us now moving away from loops, and we're going to add a new track, and imagine we wanted to just do a wee bit of singing. So you could record using your computer audio if you wanted it to be a vocal thing. So let's just add a vocal thing, and oh, we need to give microphone permission. You might need to do that as well. So just click allow, and what I can do now is I can just start recording. So let's just try something. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. I'm just going to say a word, because actually if you say a word, that can be quite cool in your music as well. So I'm just going to hit start recording. I'm just going to see whatever feels good. So let's just go. I'm not using headphones. Here we go, countdown. Yes! Let's go! You ready? Right, so let's just hear what that sounds like. I mean, all I did there was speak, but let's just listen to it. You notice here that because I was recording on that track, the little R red icon has appeared. That tells me I'm going to record onto this track here. Just make sure when you're recording that it's the track you want that's got the R, the red R for recording, because it's not the first time I've recorded over something because I've been on the wrong track. So you just select the track by just clicking on it, and you can see the different tracks there. Right, let's listen to how bad my vocals are. I don't know how good they're going to be, but let's give it a go. Now, we might need to add a wee bit of an effect on this. So, at the moment, that's just my mic, it's just my voice. It's probably going to sound a bit weird, but let's just listen. Okay, it's a bit quiet. Okay, I mean, it's not the greatest, but we'll go with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this a bit of a cool effect now, because it sounds a bit odd just being my voice. So if you go over here, you can see you've got various kind of effects that you can put on your mic. So these are instrument preset effects, okay? So I could change up the effects, but you know, if you're on a different instrument, you would use a different effect. But I'm on voice and mic, so let's just try some of these other effects. So try this DIY rap, see what it does. Let's just listen. So I'll listen to that again. So it's giving it a bit of an effect there. I'm going to come over here to the right hand side and I'm going to click effects again. And you can see here we've got a bit of control now over the effects that are running. I'm going to chuck on some reverb. Reverb will just make it sound really big, like it's taking place in a big studio. And you can see here, I can click this empty effects thing here, click add effect, and I have got tons of effects there. Now don't worry if you don't know what these mean. My best advice to you is just give them a try and see what happens. I quite like chorus, so I'm going to add some chorus, because what that does is it gives you this kind of stereo effect almost, where it just sounds interesting. So let's give the chorus a bit of a try. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to listen to just this track on its own. I don't want to hear everything else. So I'm going to come over to the headphones and I'm going to click solo this track, and let's listen now. Right, now you can hear what's happening there is that I've got all the other tracks playing in the background, which is really terrible from the point of view of my audio. So what I should have done is used headphones to listen to the music and then record it over the top. Do you know what? I'm not being very precious about this today, so I'm going to just like crack on with this kind of rough version. When you're doing it, I recommend that you don't have the background music playing on your vocal track, but for this I'm not too worried, so let's just give it a play. So you can see there, I've got that little bit of an effect. It makes it sound quite different. It's quite cool. I'm just going to keep that playing there, and I'm going to turn the volume down a wee bit because I've got that kind of audio playing in the background. So let's add a new track and let's try the voice and microphone again. And what we're going to do this time when we hit start recording is we're not going to listen to any of the rest of the tracks. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just mute all of these, and we're just going to record here. Now you can see over the left hand side here, I'm allowed to choose where I'm recording from, so you could use what's called an audio interface. I've got one here called an M track, and that will record from my mic going into my audio interface. I'm just going to use the default mic again there, and I can just start recording. So let's just try something else. I'm not able to get rid of my background music just now because I don't have headphones, but that's okay. So let's just record some, I don't know, I'll just see whatever I feel like when I do it. Let's go. Countdown. Count me down. One. Right, I've no no idea what that's going to sound like. I don't know why I started saying 1, but let's just give it a go. See what it sounds like. Okay, so I'm not hearing that. It's because I've got all these tracks soloed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come back. We don't want these soloed anymore. I'm going to click play again. Right, that 1 doesn't work at all, so I'm just going to delete that track. Sometimes you try things and it just doesn't work, and that's okay. I tried that little 1 thing there, it didn't work very well at all, and it's also getting a bit messy sounding because of all that background music coming through. So let's just listen again. So I'm just getting that subtle kind of vocal thing going on in the background. I actually quite like it, even though I've got that kind of background music in there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how you can add a new track and just use your computer keyboard. So let's give that a go. So I just clicked add new track again, and what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to choose synthesizer. And then what happens there is you can see I now have a keyboard on my screen. Now this is amazing. I've been recording music in computer software for a few years, and you used to need an external keyboard to do anything, and I didn't always have one, so it was a bit frustrating because I couldn't play any keyboards. Now you can use external keyboards with Soundtrap, but this is just the on-screen one, and what you can do is you can just click with your mouse. Okay, and what you can, so that was just me mouse clicking. If you've got a touch screen, you can just touch the actual keys. But what I think is really amazing is it's also been matched up to your computer's actual keyboard. So this here, you can see the QWERTY, so QWERTY. So if I just go to my keyboard, now that was quite cool, wasn't it? And that was literally just me tapping some keys on my keyboard. So what we're going to do, you can see I've got my red R here. I'm just going to try kind of jamming along with this and see what feels right. We're just going to get recording. So I'm going to come down here to the record button and let's just do whatever feels right in the moment. Countdown. Okay, so all I did there was record the kind of first section, and I didn't really know what to do with the next section, so I'm just going to pull this back into that kind of first section there. I need to pull back the vocal as well, actually. And let's just have a listen and see what that sounds like. That doesn't sound too good, does it? It was a bit slow on these bits. But you know what? I do quite like the first bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the marker on where I want to split this in two. I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit split region. Now what that's going to do is it's just going to keep the beginning, but it's going to let me delete this next section. Okay, so let's just hear if we want to delete it all though. Right, see, I quite like the middle bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to just right click, split region, and I don't like that little bit there, so I'm going to delete them. And then the same's going to happen up here, so I know where I did it. So I'm just going to split that there, and then I'm just going to delete that bit. So I think this is going to work. Let's hear it. Okay, Okay, so I'm needing something else going on there. This is not really enough going on. But I just want to draw your attention now to the piano roll, which you can see here down at the bottom. And what you'll notice is that some of when I hit the keyboard, some of them are longer than the other. Now that's going to affect the kind of timing and vibe of my song. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how you can fix that really easily. Okay, so when I'm in my piano roll, what you can see is that these have got like different lengths. So actually the first one, I'm just going to delete it because it's a bit different from the second one. I want my music to be, well, I want my samples of the same instrument to be the same so that it's consistent and it doesn't feel odd to my listeners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this first one, and then I'm going to hit on my second one. I'm going to right click, copy, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste that in. And what we've got now is two exactly the same. So let's hear if I've done that in the right place. Right, so now you can see I've got two that are exactly the same. Now if you wanted to keep the first one, what you can do is you can come into your piano roll, and that is the actual note. So these little squares are the exact note that we played. What you can do is you can right click on them and you get this thing called Quantize. And what that will do is it will just bring it in, snap it in to the timing of your song. You do need to know a little bit about timing and things like that. So you probably don't want to start with that, but that's maybe somewhere you could go afterwards when you really want to perfect your track and make sure that everything is spot on. So that's how you play your own things. If you add a new track there, you can also plug in guitars. So if you've got a way of plugging a guitar into your computer using an audio interface, you could just play an acoustic guitar with your microphone, and then you can add some guitar amp effects. If we come here, we can see it's on pop clean rhythm, but it gives us loads of different amps. Guitarists always use amps to give their guitars a different sound, and you've got the kind of genre of the music here as well. So if you're poppy, these amps are going to suit poppy. If you're playing rock music, these amps are going to be a bit more aggressive and rocky. So we've covered off there how you add different types of tracks. What you can do is add nice strings. So strings like violins and cellos and things could be quite nice. And you've got brass and woodwind instruments there as well. And that could be really quite cool for your anthem actually. Brass, quite popular for anthems. Let's listen. So that's a clarinet. You can see it here in the brass and woodwinds clarinet. But what about a saxophone? Let's give a saxophone a go. So you see I'm just selecting here on the right. We've got an alto saxophone or a tenor saxophone. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know the difference. One's going to be higher than the other. I'm going to click the alto one just now. And let's just try my computer keyboard. The QWERTY keys, QWERT. I'm going to... Not bad, I could probably do something with that. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to bother doing that just now because we're running out of time. So I'm just going to delete that track. And then I'm going to come back over. I feel like I need another loop. So to get my loop library, remember it's disappeared from the right hand side. But I just need to find a little musical icon in the top right. Click on that, and there's my loops again. So I'm going to cheat a bit, and I'm going to find some ready-made loops, and we're going to get some sound effects. So SFX sound effects. Let's hear them. Right, see that would be quite good at the start of my anthem, wouldn't it? Build it up. Just going to add that in. Let's hear it. So that's adding a nice bit of atmosphere to the start, and then I need another kind of bit when it starts to get going. So let's try this. That sounds quite good. I'm going to add that over here. So let's just see how this sounds on the transition. I always like to listen to the bit between one section of my song and the next, as you might notice. So let's just listen. Now that is awesome. I really like that, and I like it quite a lot. So I'm going to drag it, and just have that little O playing throughout the section. It might be too much. Let's listen. Right, it's far too much, so I actually just want to bring that back and have maybe one every so often. So I'm going to just Command C or Control C, and I'm going to copy that, and what I want to do is just have it coming in every sort of fourth beat. So you notice I've got these wee sections. I can look at my sections on the timeline. I'm just going to paste that in there, and let's hear what this sounds like now. I don't think I've got enough. I'm going to drag this further to the left. So I'm just going to click on it, drag it. I think it needs to come in about here. Let's see what that sounds like. Right, I think I want another one there, don't I? So you can see where I'm putting it in now. It's like leaving this equal space between everything. And this is how music works. Remember, we leave little pauses and breaks in our bars, in our sections. And let's just listen to now what my O sounds like, because I think I've got this pretty spot on. Right, something else needs to happen at this point, doesn't it? It's building up into something. So I want more going on now, I think. I think we're building the song up gently. We started off with a nice gentle introduction. We're bringing in the vocal O's. We've changed the drum beat, the bass track here, and we've changed the synth. So we're building up into, this is how music works. Starts off gently, sometimes builds up, and then we move towards the chorus and we get these big melodies coming in where we get our main tune. So I need to build up a bit. I think I want another synth coming in here. So remember, I've got my loops filtered by sound effects. I'm going to cross that off, go back to my main filters, and we're going to click synth, and we're going to get some lead synth going on. Not sure about that. Let's try this lunar lead. It's not busy enough, is it? It's too kind of calm. Let's try some more. Not enough. No, I'm needing some more. Let's try. Again, arena synth. Let's try that. Now that is superb, but let's try that. So I'm going to bring that in over here, and then we're going to add that. So we've got it on this main kind of vocal track. That doesn't matter. It's our kind of vocals and synths that we're starting off. So let's come back here and just let's listen to the transition. Right, I love that. I think that is sounding amazing, but I think I've probably got too much of this section, so I'm just going to bring that back, clicking on the right hand side and just dragging it to make it smaller. Now hopefully that's been enough to show you how to get started with Soundtrap. I'm going to come back to the start, and remember, I can just listen to it all there. I can add as many tracks as I want. I can invite friends to play along with me, and then I can add some vocals or some of my own instrument playing just by adding a new track and choosing voice and microphone. So you can get as creative as you like with Soundtrap. Remember, it's saving automatically, and the only thing that's left for me to show you now is how you might want to download this. So you can see what's happening in this section up the top here. It's mixing my track. Now what the mixing process when you're recording music is like the last thing you do. It just mixes it all, takes all your kind of volume levels. Remember, you can play around with the volume levels of your tracks. I've got mine all set here, but you might want to spend some time just concentrating on the volume, making things louder, making other things quieter, adding some effects into them, and just seeing how they go. I've got these two tracks muted, which was really silly of me. I just noticed that there. See how I had the the mute symbol on it wasn't playing my nice guitar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that again, and it's just going to start mixing it again. You can see the mix there. I made a bit of a mistake there by having those tracks muted. So what I was going to do is mix it and do a final sort of version that I can download, but it wasn't going to have those tracks. So that was a bit of a mistake, but that's okay. I realised and I unmuted the tracks. So remember, if you want to solo, it's the headphones. If you want to mute the track, it's that little speaker icon there. You've got your volume there, and then over here you can add automations. That basically means that you can have things happening at certain times automatically without you worrying about doing it. So that is how that goes on. And that's me saved, it's mixed, and you'll notice I have this new icon here up the top where I can download. So if I click on that, what's going to happen, it's going to download my track. It's all mixed, and you can see on my computer I've now got the track, and if I open it, it's going to open it up for me in Apple Music, because I'm on an Apple computer just now. But the great thing about Soundtrap is that you can use it on any device. So you can use this on a Chromebook, a laptop. It's all happening online. It's in the cloud. You can use it on your mobile devices with apps. But Soundtrap, for me, superb piece of software, and I really hope you enjoy making your Commonwealth Games anthems. Remember, when you want to come back, you just need to click on the Soundtrap icon. I'm zoomed in a wee bit here, so I'm just going to try, and I'm not able to zoom out for some reason, but that's us, that's Soundtrap. Hope you enjoyed it, and you can open up other projects from there. So you can see I could go back to Digitize and just open that up, and that's going to just open up my new project for me, which is a Digitize sound, the Digitize theme tune. And again, the download button up there at the top. Really hope you enjoyed that. Good luck with your Commonwealth Games anthems. Think about your countries, think about the kind of instruments and vibe that country might have. So maybe there's some traditional music styles from that country. But hopefully you've seen with Soundtrap there just how easy it can be to start recording and begin making music and getting creative. Really hope you enjoyed it. Hit us up for more summer sessions. We're running for the next 2 weeks, so join us for some more, and good luck with your music projects.